The dance beneath the moon. When the prince held her hand for the first time, it was as if the moon itself paused to watch. The drums of the festival were loud, the laughter of the villagers echoed through the night, but nothing was louder than the way he looked at her, like she was the only star in the sky. I'll never forget that night. The New Yam festival was always the biggest celebration in the village. It marked the end of the harvest, a time when everyone could relax, eat, and thank the gods for their blessings. The women spent days cooking roasted yams, spicy pepper soup, fresh palm wine. The men prepared the festival grounds, building a great fire in the center of the square. When the king announced he would visit with his sons, the whole village buzzed with excitement and fear. The king rarely left the palace, and when he did, it was usually for matters of war or judgment. But this time, he said he wanted to celebrate with his people. Prince Obinna arrived with his brothers that afternoon. His older brothers, tall and stern, wore swords at their sides and spoke with sharp, commanding voices. Obinna was different. He greeted the elders with a deep bow, shook hands with the farmers, and even carried a little boy who had fallen into the crowd. "He's too soft," someone whispered. "A prince should not act like a commoner." I didn't think much of it at the time. Obinna was kind, but what could kindness do in a world ruled by power? The festival began at sunset. The square was alive with color and sound. Women wore their best wrappers, their necks adorned with coral beads. Men drummed and danced, their bare feet stamping rhythms into the earth. Children chased each other around the fire, their laughter filling the air. Then came the dancers. Badiz was among them. She wasn't the kind of girl people noticed. She was the weaver's daughter, always quiet and focused on her work. Her mother had died when she was young, leaving her to care for her younger siblings. Her hands were always busy, spinning thread, weaving cloth, cooking, cleaning. She didn't have time for festivals or dances, but that night was different. Dressed in a simple green wrapper, her hair braided with cowries, she moved like the wind itself carried her feet. Her steps were light but purposeful, her hands swaying with a grace I had never seen before. It wasn't just me, everyone was watching her, even the prince. When the dance ended, the crowd erupted into cheers. Adi smiled shyly and stepped back into the group, but Prince Obinna stood up. He walked straight toward her, his eyes never leaving hers. The whole square went silent. "Will you dance with me?" he asked. Adiz looked around, confused. She wasn't used to this kind of attention. But when the prince extended his hand, she took it. They danced together under the moonlight.